Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Fight for Our Freedom Radio. And I'm your host, Bad Baby, accompanied by my new co-host, Alex LUJAN. And just so you all know, Robert will not be returning. Wish him well. Hope he's doing good. And I have not heard from him, so don't ask me what's going on. I heard through the grapevine that he's doing okay, though, and I wish him the best. So from now on, Alex will be co-hosting with me. Yay! And
Yay.
tonight, Alex and I are going to go over a lot of his content on Planet X, and I hope you enjoy the show. Welcome, Alex. How are you this evening?
I'm doing okay. How about yourself?
Oh, I'm hanging in there. I got my soursop tea over here, which I told you to start drinking.
Yep. I already finished my skull cap.
Yes. And just so you know that Alex is battling stomach cancer, so we want to keep him in our prayers and give him best wishes. Uh, I've given him quite a few tips on how holistically healing his cancer, and he is already doing better, aren't you, sweetie?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so tell us what we're looking at here.
What you're looking at here is for us, we consider this to be an object of the Planet X system. To be honest, what object it is, we don't know, but we know it's a another binary, actually another solar system coming in that interacts with ours, like every people say every 3,600 years, and some people say 360 years. So you give, excuse me, you give or take which way you want to fall on. But this was taken today, today, okay, today. We're seen with plain eyes, plain sight, and then they started chemtrailing and they covered it up. This was taken from the one right here in the bottom, the black one, the black one, the one you see in the dark. That was taken up from off the ISS. So if you
Yeah,
get this
you
right
could see
here,
the chemtrails.
yeah,
Who took this photo, Alex?
I I did.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, yours
Wow.
truly right here.
Wow, good
We've been seeing
work.
we've been seeing a lot right here in California, a lot. And nighttime we see a lot. And I've been studying the system since 2007. It was how you say thrown at me. I didn't want anything like this, but it came to me. Let me explain to you how it happened. I had a death in the family, which was my grandmother. I didn't want to. I was a pallbearer, but I put my name out because I felt uncomfortable, putting my grandma in the ground. So I called a friend of mine that my grandmother took care of while we were kids, and that happened to be a friend of mine that was in the military. Well, he came to me after the funeral. He said he needed to talk to me real badly, and he started telling me that ocean risings and all that were going to happen. That we are going to see ocean risings, volcanic eruptions, and all this. And I'm like, "Are you serious?" And he was like, "Yes, let me show you." So he started telling me about people that were talking about it. He mentioned a couple of names, and first, the only name he mentioned, the real name, he was Robert, was Dr. Harrington. That's the one he mentioned a lot, and I started looking him up, and I started realizing that this guy was bringing up the Planet X system. So he started telling me about what was, like I said, was going to happen. He said when you start seeing all kinds of earthquakes, tsunamis, and volcanic, he goes, that's when we're going to start seeing this object coming in. And sure enough, we're starting to see the uptake of volcanic eruptions, the uptake of earthquakes, the tsunamis, and we're starting seeing ocean receding. So, like I say, I've been on this since 2007, and I have not turned back from it.
Was this just a friend or a
N-
relative or?
It was a friend of mine that was a close friend of the family that grew up with us. He was like, actually, I could say like I consider him like a brother.
It's really strange that, this all came about at your grandmother's funeral. It sounds to me like it all happened for a reason.
Yep, it happened for a reason. Like I said, the things are brought to you for a reason, and for us, we don't know. We don't know what it is. So, like you were brought in for a reason. What you're doing, I'm brought in a reason. Everybody else out there is brought in for a reason. So, I'm not gonna stop doing what I'm doing.
No, tried to stop doing what I'm doing a few times, but it just don't work out. Besides that, everybody starts emailing me, "Oh, where are you?" Or they put up reviews, "Bad baby, please come back." So I'll stick it out for the duration, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah,
Wow, that's a phenomenal photo. Now, were you like what way was that, in the west or in the east
yeah.
or
No,
northeast?
this was during the almost like at 9 o'clock, like nine, well 9:30 in the morning. Yeah, it was facing like a little bit south, well southeast, a little bit caddy off to southwest, south. That's where I've been noticing they been chemtrailing the sky right there a lot where I'm at right there. A lot. I mean, we're chemtrailed bad on that side on the south.
Now, when they're chemtrailing over there, are you feeling the effects? I mean, as far as breathing?
Yeah, I'm feeling the effects
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah, we do here too in Michigan. I try to stay in when it's really, really bad. And the one thing I did notice about them chemtrailing really heavy is that they do it right before it's going to rain. Have you noticed
You want
that?
to? Yes, yes. And not only that, I see that when they do that, the clouds they end up getting some type of formation, and like you can see waves, you can see patterns like microwaves and all that. Like they're moving, they're traveling to a certain spot, and then as soon as they get to that spot, they stop. And to me, I think
Hmm.
that's how they can modify the weather, how they know exactly where they're going to put the rain and whatever they're going to put there.
Yeah. Yeah, I noticed
What I'm going to
today
say,
that they're directing a lot of rain again over West Virginia.
you see that right there?
Yeah, what's
Right.
this? This the moon?
Yeah, that's the moon, but look at the bottom.
What is it?
Let me blow this up for you then. Let me present this one to you. See it now?
Yes, it looks like something's hooked to it.
Look at the bottom. You don't see the bottom? The red planet?
It's No, I'm not seeing it.
You're not seeing the black?
Oh, okay, now I see. Yeah, it's like there's two objects there, right?
Yeah, you got the moon that was taken yesterday. And then you got everybody says that's Mars, but that's way too close and way too red to be Mars. Way too close and way red to be Mars.
Okay, the reason I wasn't seeing it is because everybody's pictures are over top of the bottom of your picture. So if you go back down a size, I'll probably see it better. But yeah, I'm seeing it now. Okay,
Yeah.
so everyone's saying that's Mars,
That's why everyone's saying that it's Mars. I don't think it's Mars.
and
I
you
don't
took
think it's
this photo too?
Meh. Yeah. You can say I was around the person who did it.
Okay.
The person they want to believe didn't want to believe me about it being there, so the person said, you know what, keep the photograph. And I started telling them, look, what's right there, what's right there, and they were like, I don't see nothing, and they started taking photographs. See, look at the photograph. We just went back to this one. I didn't
Yeah.
even do that, so someone's messing around in here. I got to figure out, hold on, who's in here. Yeah. So anyways, let me keep going on. Um, like I said, we've been getting the solar system coming in since I believe since Ferrata first saw it in 2000, I'm like in 1943 or 44, somewhere around there, he saw it. And then he started telling everybody that it was going to be coming in. He described how it was going to come in, and I looked up Ferrata too, and that's what got me pretty I say scared, because the way he described the objects, how they were going to come in. The way he described it in three speeds. One was 72 kilometers per second, the other one was 92 kilometers per second, and the other one was 303 kilometers per second. Do you know how much 303 kilometers per second is? It's almost like
No.
almost like 9,600,000 miles, something like that, or 96,000 miles. Imagine a planet just coming by you whipping like that. Oh, would be no wonder why they said in the Bible not to be fear mongering or anything, but like in the Bible it does say, 1 hour in 1 hour you're doomed.
Well, I'm glad it's not all drug out. You know, if I'm going to be
You know,
doomed, make
actually,
it quick.
and then and then to prove a point that that object was seen yesterday, this was taken like 2 days ago, but that's just 4 hours because it was shared with me. This was taken off the ISS, and that's a red object that was seen right there by. That's why they ask if it was Mars or something. Like I said, that's too close to be Mars, and that's way too red to be Mars.
Okay, now did you put a download in the chat?
A download?
Yeah, did
I
you put a
believe.
picture in the chat?
Yes, I did.
Oh, okay. Just checking because just so everybody knows, Alex and I did a test show today, and somebody came in and started targeting us, and they were taking his pictures and putting them back up. And I just want you all to know that 10 o'clock is when my show is. And for some reason, when that happened, I had a bad feeling something wasn't going on right. So I came back and looked at my window, and someone had canceled out our show and rescheduled it for 9 o'clock. So my window was open saying join studio with nobody in it. Uh, if you do happen to come to talk shoe and that happens, just remember I'm out here at 10 o'clock, you guys. Someone has the ability to get in, weren't they today? They were in here today when we were in here practicing, trying to get used to the controls and putting Alex's pictures back up, weren't
That's exactly
they?
what they did too. Yep, that's exactly what they were doing.
Well,
I got some other ones. I got some other ones too, but they're kind of like I don't know if anybody will want. Or what if, like, I see there it goes again. Someone else put that back up again.
okay. So it's so
No,
nice to feel so loved.
yeah. Now look at that one right there. If anybody could see that, that's a blue star that was seen.
Sure
That's
is
right.
pretty.
Yeah, the way they described it was so beautiful. They couldn't keep their eyes off of it, and they were asking me, "Do you think it's what I think it is?" I was like, "You know what? A lot of people are gonna say what they really think it is." And they say, "Well, I want to hear it from you." I was like, I don't think it's the blue kachina. I don't think so."
So you're in California, correct?
Yes, yes, I am.
Okay. So, I'm sure you've been there all your life, correct?
Yes.
And describe to us since, the microwaves have been hitting the forest and the forest fires. How has it been affecting, how far away are you from these fires and how has it been affecting your community?
Well, the fires were okay. The first fires that they started, I believe they were. Trying to remember what exact place they were, but I was like I'm about 200 miles away from the first fire. And then the one they started down south, I'm like 2.5, 3 hours away from that one. And the way it's been affecting our community, a lot of people have been getting, what you could say, sick. And they say it's not sick from, like, from ashes and all this. They said it's kind of sick from whatever. The way I'm gonna describe it, whatever caused the fires, whatever chemical they use, whatever it has some type of thing where people were getting sick. I mean, literally sick. Some people were like fainting because they couldn't breathe.
That's what I'm hearing, that there's a lot of respiratory problems.
Yep. And the only reason there's two causes that I could believe was causing that. One of them could be the methane that we're getting off the ground because we have a super volcano here that hardly people don't know about. It's in the Long Valley, Nevada Sierra region. It's like it has a caldera that's like 10 miles wide that they don't know. And it's bigger than if that one were to go off, it'll make Yellowstone look like a joke. That's exactly what they said. If that one goes off, that's the one that'll trigger everything. I mean, the whole world will probably go off.
Wow.
That's the reason why I feel that that's why California is just gonna crumble like a cookie or right when this thing happens. It's gonna be like a cookie. Just someone just grabs a cookie and there you go, it crumbles. Everybody just wherever your piece falls, that's where you're gonna land.
I don't want to be in California, that's for sure. I lived out there for 2 years and I didn't care for the change in climate. I'm a Michigander and I'll always be a Michigander.
And then
I like it
let
here.
me yeah, let me show you a little something that I took off a webcam in Mexico. Okay, can you see that?
Yes.
Okay. What I'm showing you right here is the webcam in Mexico, and it was taken on the 18th of this month of October. On the top, what you're seeing is what I consider to be we have a sun simulator, artificial light, and if you were to take a look at the bottom, you see a different light source. This one right here on top is like a whitish blue, and if you take away the ball, look at the bottom of the horizon, you'll see a yellowish, pinkish color rising. Two different light sources. And this is in the east during the time of the during the sunset. Look at the time; it's 8 o'clock.
So explain to us, Alex, why there's two different light sources.
We got two different light sources. In my opinion, it could be the sun simulator and our actual sun, or it's out of alignment. The reason why they have the sun simulator, why they designed this, is to stop us from seeing the eclipses that are going to be occurring, as it states in the Bible. We're going to be seeing eclipses, and for them to block out this and to give us heat, to give us light during the times of the night, and to make it seem like we have some light source. Yeah, I don't know if any of the people listeners here have noticed. There's been a couple of times where you guys see the sky where there's no clouds in front of the sun. It goes kind of dim, and when you notice it's
Mhm.
dim, that's because we're getting an eclipse.
Well, before they shut down the observatory, there was a small glimpse of something coming in front of the sun, and then they like squashed it. Did you
Well,
happen to see that video?
yes, I did. And it shows two objects going, and their objects are traveling two different directions. So they try to play it off as being our sun, and our Earth. How can that be the moon and Earth? The Earth is where the satellite's at. It's in back of the Earth. There's no way the Earth could have been in front of the sun that way. In my opinion, it was two of the objects of the planetary system that crossed it, and they didn't want us to see it, so they shut down the observatories because they didn't want anybody to see anything like that. There was a big old
That
scandal about some alien being caught, but if you take a look at the photographs that that person had, they're not exactly what they say. I'm not going to get into that. That's a different story.
it was an alien being caught. Oh my God, how did they know I was down there looking for my Kit Kat?
Well, that's what they said. It was an alien being caught. So I don't know. I didn't fight for that. I didn't fall for that. Once they gave me the photographs, I was investigating those photographs, and I was like, oh. Then we have like Facebook community that we have like guys and girls that have like over about 300 years somewhere on their experience. We're talking about like 50, between 30 to 50 people that are in there that have experience, and they were looking over all these photographs, and they all came back to the conclusion that it wasn't what that person said. Just that you got to realize some people got to run with whatever they give them.
Things are really heating up, aren't they, Alex? I mean,
Yes, they
it
are.
really is getting intense. Did you put that back up?
Yeah, that one I did.
Okay. I was gonna say somebody likes to
No,
put that up a lot.
no. I think what it does now, I think I realize what it is now. I think when I present a photograph, the very first photograph I present, that stays locked into our conversation. So every time I'm about to upload a new photograph, it gives me it lets how you call it, it puts back the first photograph.
Oh, it's like a slideshow. It rotates them.
Yeah. But let me
Okay.
show you this one again on the same thing on the Mexico. Let me present this one to you. What I want you to tell me, what do you see right there? This is the same area. This is at 1800 hours. What do you
Well, it
got
looks to
rising
me like
over?
a split object, like something's blocking it.
Well, no, hold on. In the first place, we're not supposed to be getting any type of light source at 1800 hours on the east. The sun only rises once, not twice.
Oh yeah, yeah. You know what? this happened at my house, and I had my roommate run out there because I had taken my dog out, and the sun had just gone down. It goes down over the trees here in the west. And I always watch, if I'm out there, I watch the sun go down. Then I turned around and I looked to the east, only it was more intense than this. It was pink red like that, and it was huge. And it was really bright over Lake Huron, which is actually the sun went down in the west. And I looked to the east, and that's when I saw this red like that in the clouds over Lake Huron. And so I ran in and I called her to come down and take pictures of it. And so she ran down and started taking pictures. By the time she got down there, it already was starting to fade. And it faded really fast. It faded away like within 5 minutes, it was gone. So I just thought, what the heck's going on? Why is there a light source over here in the east? And it made everything look red, pink, but I mean it was a lot more intense than what you're showing us here. And and it was huge. And you could tell it was like in a circular object too. It wasn't just a section. It was just like this big, huge, round section of pink. And and it was, to me, it was
Did it
like
happen to look
something
like
else
that?
was setting like
Did it
that.
happen to look like this? Hold on, like that?
Well, it didn't, but you couldn't see an object because there was a lot of clouds. It was just the clouds were glowing pink like that. And it kind of like faded away really fast. And I thought, oh my God, there's something that's pink or red over here in the east over Lake Huron that's going down too. But it goes down a few minutes after our sun is already gone.
Do you know that we have two objects rising in the west? I think northwest before the sun comes up.
No, because I'm lazy. I don't go out that early.
Nah, I get up. You know what? Ever since this thing started coming in, and you start feeling what we consider the Schumann resonance, I guess your frequency and your vibration, I guess it gets what we consider rippled. So ever since then, I have what I consider a sleeping schedule where I go to bed like around 12, 1 o'clock, and I'm up at 5 in the morning, and I'm gonna go back to bed. I stayed
Yeah,
up
I
since
get up
since
at
since.
5. I do get up at 5, but I don't go out because my roommate takes my dog out, and then I end up getting ready and get breakfast ready and that, so that I can take my other roommate to school. So I'm kind of busy, but you know what? I should start going out and looking.
See, these are the two objects that are rising in the west. Someone told me it was a lipo. All right, tell them no, it's not a lipo. I go, trust me, it's not a lipo. They're
Well,
like, I kind of.
you can see in the middle of the picture land. So, I mean,
Yeah,
that's pretty high up for a light pole.
I know. But when I did that, what we considered invert the photographs and that nothing was there. Oh, that person got so angry with me because I proved them, and he was all like, "Yo, I'm not gonna talk to you anymore." Okay, just because you can see it. This is a small one, but you can see there's no lipo. You can see the two objects right there. You can tell that those are actually heated light sources, something that emit their own light that they don't need the sun to be by them.
Now, being a Planet X researcher, which I find this myself, uh, you have to be very careful who you talk to about this. Sometimes when you talk to people that aren't familiar with this or awake to this, they get very angry at you.
Yes, they
And
do.
you like I've almost had people want to punch me, like shut up, I don't want to hear. And then they'll scream at you. Well, there's nothing you can do about it anyway, so why are you talking about it? Well,
Oh yes,
basically,
there's a lot we could do about it. There's a lot. I mean, it tells you to run to the hills. That's the first thing it tells you. Run to the hills.
yes. And also, I would prefer to know what's going on. I just don't want to get up one day and the world's flipping upside down and I'm like, what's going
Now,
on?
No, yeah, I don't think you'll be able to get up and look to see if the world's flipping upside down. Because I think it's going to be within between 23 to 28 minutes for the north to become the south and the south to become the north. So yeah, I don't think none of us will be able to feel or look at that. Only thing I really don't want to wake up at 9 o'clock in the morning and find out that it's dark. That's what I don't want to wake up to. I don't want to wake up to no darkness because once it wakes up to darkness, we already know what's happening.
Yes. And the Bible
So
tells us about the darkness too.
that's one thing I don't want to wake up to is darkness.
They say when there is darkness that you're not supposed to go outside, and that if voices call you, don't trust them, don't go out.
Yep, yeah, you're right. You're true. Yeah, that's exactly. I got some more photographs that are crazy. Like, let me see. Let's see if I can get you this one. Some of these have to do with like with chemtrail clouds and stuff. You can see this one right here. This one's pretty cool. But I think there's an object inside this one right here. No, no, present it. You see that right there?
Wow.
I
Now
think there's an
see,
object in that one cloud.
there's
In that one cloud
purple
right
in
there.
there, and there's all different colors, purple and blue, and
Well, we see
that
these
is
colors like this.
crazy.
We see these colors like this right here in California. I mean, bad, especially right there, like I said, in the south. And then when it starts coming down to the west, it's like we're blocked. We hardly can't see anything. It's crazy what's happening out there right now, especially in the sky. What's really happening around there? We're surrounded by all kinds of things, and you got so many researchers out there trying to find the truth. Some of them actually, they tell their subscribers to be opened up to a lot of things, and to me, I'm not really opened up to a lot. I'm only open up to whatever the Lord tells me to be open up to.
Amen to that. What I am a little bit peeved and tired of is all the tit for tat in the Planet X community. Don't listen to this person. I'm the best one. Send your money only to me. And I'm a little fed up with it. I mean,
Well, I'll be honest with you. I got away from the big channels because you notice that it seems okay. It seems like if you join with one big channel, it don't matter what channel. We're not gonna mention no names right here, what channels, but a lot of people actually know who we're talking about. Like I said, when you associate yourself with one channel, it seems the other channel starts attacking you because you're
you.
hanging out with with you because you're associating yourself with this channel. But if you stop associating yourself with that channel, then that person wants to become buddies with you because you're no longer associated with that other channel. So that's why I say there's
Yes.
too much bickering going on in there. So I just do my own thing. That's all I'm doing now, doing my own thing.
And I've had everybody on here. I'm sure you know I've had everybody
Yeah.
on here that has to do with the Planet X system, and I have been uh, pretty much cursed and hated for caring about everybody. And I'm sorry, but I'm not going to change the person who I am. I don't judge anybody, and I'm not going to hate anybody because somebody else wants me to hate them. I don't feel that God wants us to hate anyone. And so I stand neutral, and I'll just stand back into out of the limelight and let you all be a pack of wolves and go at each
Hey,
other because I'm
you want
not
to see
part of
something?
that.
You want to see
Yes.
something that kind of shocks my hide a little when I see like since we're talking about researchers out there. Let me show you something right now. You see that right there?
Yes.
Okay, this was taken in 1999. Hear me, 1999. And take a look what you see right there by the sun.
I
What do
see
you
it.
see? Okay, what do you
I,
see?
s-
Refraction.
I see.
No,
Yeah.
those are what you call lens flares. You got channels and other channels calling this a planet when if that was a planet, to be honest, isn't taken in 1999. We should have at least seen one of these planets in our sky, right by the moon or somewhere away from the moon. This was 1999. You know how long it takes for a planet to travel? Look how close it is right there to the sun. It
And
should have been here
where was
already.
this take? Was this taken
It
in
was,
California?
yes, it was taken in California, and this was one of my friends that's a professional photographer. This was one of her very first photographs that she took when she graduated from school. She's a professional photographer. She's been there. She graduated from school in '98, and this was actually like one of her photographs that she went out and started taking photographs. That's her dad right there that she's taking a photograph. This is where she lived.
It's a beautiful picture.
That's what I'm saying. She's a professional photographer. She opened up my eyes to a lot. I mean, a lot of things, and that's why I'm looking at a lot of these what we consider Planet X researchers. They kind of like want to cram this down everyone's throat, saying that this is a planet, so they could keep going back to their channels. So that's what I'm
Wow.
just throwing out there. I asked the reason why. And let me show you. That's the reason why I showed you this. Okay. You're seeing this right there, right? Now let me show you something else so I can show you so we could go ahead and tell the difference, what I'm trying to say. So you could understand. So you can see something right now. This is an object that we should be looking for. See that?
Yes.
Okay, that's not Jupiter. You ever see that object that Robert Evans has every once in a while that has that rainbow stripes and everything?
Yes.
Well, that's that object right there. It's in our
Speaking.
it's trapped. Someone says the sound's going in and out, in and out.
Really. You
Yeah,
sound
that's what it
good
says
to
right now.
me.
Or maybe it's their
Who's
end over there. It's a guest eight.
is it my sound or Alex's sound?
Hopefully it's not mine. Yeah, but this is what we're looking for in objects like this. See, the reason why I showed you what I showed you about the lens refractions that they're calling, what's the difference? This is a solid mass.
Both.
Mass. You can't see it. You can't see through it. This is solid mass. You can't see through it. So what I'm trying to get at, the other stuff that they're showing you, you can see through it. It's if I were to show you exactly what they're seeing, what they're showing. Well, let me show you right now. I got permission to share this. This is one of my professional photographers, and I would give a lot of love and respect to this guy because this guy is the one that actually opened up my eyes to what we're really seeing, and I'm glad that he did. Let me show you right now. You tell me what you're seeing right now. Take a look at that. This is the actual photograph taken with the P9 Nikon P900. You see what we're looking all right here from the beginning over here where you see the blue all the way to the sun. That's what you call
Yes.
lens. That's what you call lens flares. That's exactly what we see by the sun when we see webcams. And like I said, you got all these other Planet X researchers calling all these little flares planets when it's just a lens flare.
And see, all the confusion is what makes so many people
Not, not
non-believers
one.
of what's going
Yes,
on.
yes, because you got people cramming lens flares down their throat, saying that they're planets, and you realize if it was really a planet that big, that size, and it was a refraction, everybody will be able to see it, not just in a webcam. We'll be able to see some type of refraction if the because they say that they have the lens arrays, what's considered a lens array system that was designed to obscure, block, hide the system. Let me tell you one thing. If we were to see some type of refraction of these objects, regardless, what's the whole purpose of them making the lens? The whole purpose of that lens array is to hide, obscure. You're not supposed to see it, not even a refraction of these planets, because that's what it was meant, it was designed for. So that's the reason why it's kind of hard for me to believe in that we're seeing refractions now. Once I got into this study of lens flares and all, I started seeing what other people were doing. I had to stay away from them because it's like, they're basically cramming a lot of stuff down their throat, and I can't. I'm not that type of guy that's gonna do that. That's not me.
Another beautiful photo, though. I really, the water is so blue. See that? That's how the water is over here in the St. Clair River. It is blue, blue like that. Beautiful. Our
Yeah,
planet, it just breaks my heart that our planet's going to go haywire. because everything that's so beautiful is going to be destroyed mainly until the
Yep.
planet settles back down and it reforms. I'm sure it'll still have its beauty, but there will be a lot of chaos. And, like I said to you, you said it's going to happen so fast. I'm
Hmm.
glad it's going to happen fast. It'd be horrible if it drug out for weeks and months and, but I mean, what's going on right now as far as the weather control, the modification, and the flooding and the storms and all that? This has been going on for how many years? And it's horrible how it's dragging on and on and on. And
I think
the
some of this
bad part about, well, what makes me angry about it is that the elite are trying to cover it up saying it's global warming when they're behind it in the first place.
Yeah, I know. I think the all this weather modification that we're seeing, like the weather, I think it's all design. Like they know exactly where they need to put the like hurricanes, hailstorms, and all that to make it seem. To me, I feel like they're trying to how you say make the prophecy happen their way, like they're trying to be God. That's the way I see it. Like
Yeah.
someone said that the photograph I showed that was that was Photoshop. Take a look at that. That was up in the sky. What do you see? Same lens array, same lens refractions, same thing. That's what we're seeing in the whole thing. It's just depending on what camera you're using and what you're using, you get different you get different lens flares. Like this one,
Hmm.
you can see the hexagonals. This one, you can see the hexagonals. If you're using a Picon 900, you see the circles. And if you use like a government phone or any type of other phone, sometimes you get what we consider not a hexagonal. You get yeah, you can say hexagon, or sometimes you get the hexagon with a triangle or a diamond, depending on what phone you're using. That's why I tell everybody it's kind of hard for me to believe that these planets are right there. When in Scripture it says not one person is going to see it if they see it. It says all nations are going to see it and everyone's going to bow down when they see it. So high. That's why it's kind of hard for me to say. Someone says, "Oh, I seen a planet right there." Yeah, I can see a planet. I see stuff in the sky, but sometimes it's not even planets. Sometimes it could be UFOs. You ever heard of a Dyson sphere?
Hmm.
Okay, well, it could be a Dyson sphere for all we know what we're seeing too. Some of the stuff here that I seen in the sky too, I really think is holograms.
Oh, yeah, I was just going to say it could be Project Bluebeam with holograms too. And that's another thing to get people all confused, wondering what's this, what's that, oh, this is a bunk and blah blah blah. But what gets me is why would they even bother doing that if they weren't trying to confuse everybody? Why are they even bothering coming into my window and trying to disrupt my shows if I wasn't on to something?
Yep. I'm gonna see if I could share a video right here. If I could share this video, that'd be great. The reason why is because it shows an object. Yeah, here we go. Let me see if I can share this one. Can we share this one? Yes. Oh, I can share it. Oh, you guys are gonna think this is the reason why I say Project Bluebeam. Can you hear me?
Yes, you're a little
Okay.
broken up, but go ahead.
Okay, everybody's got to download this one so they can see it.
Okay, go ahead and put it in the chat. I just want
Are you
to
good?
give you guys a heads up. Uh, I am so disappointed in what's happening in my window and the quality. As far as you guys saying our voices are going in and out, people coming in and doing what they have been doing the last few shows. I'm not going to rehash what's been going on. If you've been in the window, I'm sure you know. Alex and I discussed today that there's a good possibility I may be leaving TalkShoe. If I do, I'll probably be doing my shows in a different format and putting them up on YouTube because I'm not going to deal with poor quality and disruption. And I figure we don't have much time left anyways, and I'm not going to stop getting my point across. And I'm not going to waste my time playing with a bunch of little games.
I agree with you. with you. You're gonna want to be,
Well, we want to get out there and be there for those that are genuine and that really want to hear what we have to say. And I have a lot of people ask me, what do you think I should do? Blah blah blah. Uh, my main thing, I think, as far as what you should do, is get your spiritual house in order. Try to help others because you know it doesn't matter what you did in the past. Let's just put it that way. That the past is the past. From this point on, you can change everything that ever happened in your past by being a better person and trying to help others. So many people out there are suffering right now with homelessness and disease, or maybe a next door neighbor is ill and they could use your help. Uh, I know when I cross over and do my life review, I want to show in my life review that I learned how to love others and help others. And that's mainly what I think you should do. Nothing's going to save us, folks. We're all going to die one day. But when we do die, we got to do it in the right manner. Are you still with me,
I
Alex?
hear me?
You're breaking up, just like this afternoon. Don't hang up, because if you hang up, it'll end the show.
Can you?
Nope, you're breaking up still. I took your moderator thing off. See, and this is what I'm talking about, you guys. This interference, wasting the time that we're out here trying to get a point across. And I mean, it's becoming way too much. I'm so sorry, Alex, that this is happening. Oh, he left, you guys, so he's going to try to dial back in. But you know, this is what my point is as far as what I think you should do. I mean, we all have our own free will. Some people might not agree with me, but like I said, when I'm standing there in front of whoever, which I've heard all different stories about how a life review goes, but I do know we do a life review. And I think that we come here to learn, and we go through life's lessons. And the lessons that we go through in life are to try to push us to teach us something. And basically, I think at the very end, by the time we get done going through everything we go through, what we're supposed to learn is just to love one another. So,
Yes. Can you hear me?
yes. Oh,
Okay.
that's good.
I
You
want to
got a
make sure.
great connection now.
Yeah, I got him. Yeah, that's one thing. I had to log off and log on. It seems every time I'm logging on and I'm on here, it seems it's weird. I was looking at my whatchamacallit right now on my processor, where when you do the device manager and it shows you everything. Well, I was checking right now, actually task manager. I was saying right now that I have all kinds of windows opened up when I don't. I only have one window. Instead, I had like
Hmm.
over 30 Chrome windows opened up.
See,
This
and,
is
and
weird.
this is yeah, well, you know why this is happening. To disrupt your computer and have you have lousy audio. We went over this afternoon. We found out when you had other things running, that's when it disrupted it. So we talked about it on this test show, and whoever is trying to disrupt this window has the ability to do these things. This is why I think it might be better. I hate to say I'm going to leave TalkShoe because I know you guys all look for me on Friday nights. Um, but it might be better that I just, live stream my shows on. I'm not even going to say how I'm going to do it. And then just I'm going to start posting them up on YouTube. But bad part about that is that you guys can't come in and type in the chat, and unless we do decide to live stream through YouTube every once in a while, we could do that. But it's not the same as you looking for me every Friday night on Talk Shoe. I've been out here
Yep.
what, 16 years
Six,
now.
about 16, yeah, somewhere around there. That's a long time to be on here, and then all of a sudden they mess around with you. Like if
Well,
you
it's
want to
not
see,
all
let
of
me
a
show you.
sudden. They've been doing it all along, but I mean, it's
Let me show
getting
you.
pretty intense.
Let me show you a little something too that I find funny. This was taken in Canada. See that on top?
It looks like an egg dropping through.
Well, that's what that. This right here is what we consider a lens array. A lens in front of the sun. This is what sometimes this goes in front of the sun. Have you noticed sometimes you see the sun real small, and then like maybe 2 days or 3 days later, it starts getting real. It looks real big. It was like, wow, how did that sun grow so big, so humongous over, like 2 days or a day? Because it goes in front. Sometimes it goes in front of one of these objects, and it gives you the impression. How you say? It gives you the impression that it's a huge object when it's not. The reason why it goes in front of this is that's when we see the halos. You get the sun simulator going in back of it, and then it causes the halo because it blocks our actual sun that's back there.
Hmm.
I think our sun is actually as if we were to see our sun for the actual color, I think we will see a red sun, just like the way the ancients described it, because they said when the sun was red back then, an ice age followed. I think that's the reason why they don't want us to see it, because there's a lot of scholars out there that know about the Greek mythology, the Egyptian and all this, and that's why they came out with the mythology, because they want us to believe that it was fake, it was just a myth, which it wasn't. All these Greeks and the Atlanteans, they knew more than what everybody else knew. I mean, they were the
Right.
one of the civilizations that had like what we consider practically everything. I mean, almost everything.
Another thing, Alex, is they're talking about pole shifts on the History Channel. Or no, it was on the Smithsonian Channel. I had the Smithsonian Channel for free for a week, and I recorded all the shows, and I've been sitting and watching them, and they're showing what happened back when people were in Egypt, and they couldn't grow crops. It was kind of like the Dust Bowl. And the priests back then, or the high priestess that would bless all the crops and everything, they knew what was happening, so they went into the caves and they put like walls up over the openings that were made of sticks to keep people from coming in, and they took what food they had in there, and the people were bombarding them trying to get in there to get the food, and every once in a while they'd throw a bucket of beans through the the sticks, and people would be on the ground fighting for it, and everybody just starved to death. It was just horrible watching this. But I watched it and I thought, oh my God, I I don't want to live that way. Like when you said it's going to happen fast, I'm glad. If I'm on an island and it sinks, sink fast.
Okay, well, for us, I think for the people who the way he describes the ones that have the seal that he says he's gonna protect, he's gonna have mercy on us. In my opinion, I really think he really means that we're gonna go quick. Like in other words, he's
Yes.
just gonna take. We're gonna go real quick. Then we're not gonna feel no pain. It's gonna be sudden, and everyone else, the ones that are gonna stay here, the ones that we consider the left behind, they're the ones that are gonna suffer because they didn't believe.
Yep. I've been watching a program on YouTube called Really Don't Die, Life After Death. And a lot of people that have had near-death experiences and came back said that, well, there was a woman that was hit by a lady that was texting. She was on her bicycle, and she broke 28 bones in her body. And, she said she didn't feel any of it. And when she agreed to come back because she did a life review, and they asked her if she would come back and write books and let people know that when you pass over, you don't die. You just move into a different dimension. And the life review, it was interesting the way she explained it, because she said that she was feeling remorse watching some of it, knowing that some of the things that she did affected other people so deeply. And I had heard that a long time ago, that when you do your life review, you feel the pain that you cause others. So like when you're hurting someone, actually you're only hurting yourself. And but she said that the angelic type people that were there, when she walked in the room, she felt immense love. And when she would feel bad about what she did to someone because she would feel their pain, they would send her love and tell her it was okay. That was just a life learning lesson. So, but again, her message was that we are here to love one another. And when we hurt others, all we are doing is hurting ourselves, actually, because we are all connected. And our lesson that we're supposed to learn is to help and love one another. So it's not about, oh, I got a bigger house than this guy, or I got a better car, or I make more money. It's not about any of that. It's about whether you're going to learn what you're supposed to learn while you're here.
Exactly. I'm writing somebody right now in your chat right now.
Okay.
That's the reason why. You said something about them saying about us, but that the Bible was here to distract me. I feel like I was gonna tell him. I feel like you're the one right here that's put here to distract me.
Oh, so we just want to let everyone know that we're going to have Robert Evans on next week, and he'll be bringing
Yes,
all his photos, and we're going
I
to
got
go
more
through
photos.
those.
I got more
Yeah,
photos,
show us
but I
some more,
rather
Alex.
oh, let me see if I can show you. I got some actually alien stuff like UFOs. Like if you want to see some of those, I got some of that. Like I said, a lot of people send me everything. They're like, "Do you like this? Do you like that?" I go, just send me whatever you guys got. And I get a lot of things. You want to see something that looks like our supposed to be our sun, but it's not our sun?
Sure.
But our moon. That's what the person told me. It was rising. It was setting. And I go, that don't look like our moon. They're like, yes, it is. I was like, it's not our moon. Let me find the photograph. It's a lot of photographs I have right here. They must be in my other one. I got a lot, like I said. So let me see. Yeah, here we are. Let me send it. Here we go. Can you see it?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. They said that was our moon. Now that really don't look like our moon. I can show you up close up. Let me show you a little bit of close up of how they took it. I don't mess around with none of these photographs or anything. They just give them to me the way they are, and I just leave them the way. But if I have to do something just for me to see if something's there, then I'll present it. I don't know if that's the same one you see, but it's a little bit bigger. That's the biggest I could get it because if I did it, it'll start pixelizing. Make it all ugly. That's one thing I don't like. Like I said, there's all kinds of crazy people out there that are not crazy like that, but what they consider us being crazy, us being what we consider, ourselves as being crazy. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
This,
I know what you mean.
let me share this one with you.
Well, I would like to know who invented the definition of crazy, and where do you draw the line on what's crazy and what isn't? Because there's so much
Um,
craziness going on right now. I mean, all these people that are protesting for Antifa, I mean, these people are taking pictures of themselves pooping in the streets and putting their fingers in it and writing Trump's name. I mean, uh, that's crazy. Yeah.
tell me about
I
it.
mean, I mean, you know what my first thought was when I saw them doing that kind of stuff? I think that they've been hanging out at the zoo and watching the monkeys. You know how
Well,
when you go to the
we
zoo and
are.
the monkeys poop and they throw it at you?
Uh, well, you know the reason why they do that, right?
um,
No, I could tell you the
to
reason why they
draw
do that. They're
attention,
angry at.
maybe.
No, they're angry at us. You didn't hear
Well,
the
they're
story about the apes and the elephants, did you?
no.
Well, let me explain to you about the story of the apes and the elephants. During the time of Babel and Nimrod, you had three tiers that wanted to go up in heaven. You had one that wanted to go up and this, basically, I had to say it, take God out, as in other words, murder him. The way they were talking about it, they wanted to take him down, throw him out of heaven. And then you had a second tier, what I just want to call tiers. There's three of them. Second tier wanted to take their own statues, their own wooden statues, stones, and all that to go worship them up there. And then you had a third tier that wanted to go up there and do whatever they please, fornicate, all that stuff up there in heaven. So during the time of them when they finished the tower, it came to the point where these men got angry and they started shooting arrows into the sky. When they shot arrows into the sky, they started falling back, but which it wasn't falling back. It was meteorites that were covered with hail blood, as it says in the Bible. It came to be where the first tier, the Lord killed them, and straight killed them because, like they wanted to kill the Lord. Second tier, hear me out. He turned them into apes and elephants. That's where apes and elephants came from. They came from what the Lord did. That's why elephants are always so smart. They never forget, and they always do that because they have a human brain.
Wow,
And the
interesting.
third tier, this is where I say we all came from Egyptian. Don't matter what anybody tells me or not. I don't care. Don't care. We came from Egyptian because it states right there that he scattered everybody who wanted to fornicate all over around the whole world. That means they got scattered in Russia, China, Asia, United States, South America, everywhere. So if you had two or three or four, let's just say Egyptians scattered over there, they had to reproduce for us to be here. So where do you think we came from? We came from Egyptians because they scattered them all over the world.
Hmm.
That's
Interesting.
my opinion. That's my opinion. The way I see it, this is in the Book of Jasher, and in the Book of Jasher, they talk about them seeing the actual star that came in because this is where our asteroid about came along. They state that they were when Nimrod instructed four guys to go out to go see where they could build their tower. At that time, they saw a new star come in. When this new star came in, it was so big and bright. The way they describe it was the way Gilbert Sar describes our his planet 7X. It was as big as Jupiter and as bright as Venus.
Yeah.
It came in and it consumed four stars in one shot. It consumed the south, the west, the east, and the north. The only thing that could do that is an object as that big. And when it did that, this is where the how you call it, Egyptians saw our asteroid belt get created. If you're to look that
Well,
up, it's right there. And now I'm like, well, it's a lot that I seen.
one of the guests in the chat want to know if you do you really understand the meaning of fornicate?
Ah, I don't take anybody's opinion that believes that has to have a name, the Dark Knight. That tells me they're into the devil worshiping or something. I
Oh,
don't take advice from somebody from like that either. The
and
Lord already
and
said this to so many
the
people.
thing is, no one, some, I'm not going to say who, but a lot of people aren't getting the message about uh, agitating and hate. It's like built in. I don't get it. I
Let me show
feel
you this.
bad.
Let me show you this one right here that I wanted to show you. This is a UFO that was caught seen in out there in UK. This is awesome. You see it?
Yes.
That's what the guy in the UK says that that's all he keeps seeing this object all the time. He says he sees it like every other day. He'll go out, pull out his camera, and sometimes it comes out of the cloud like it wants him to catch it, and then it goes back in the clouds, comes out, goes back. I told him, "What is it doing? Playing peekaboo with you?"
Well, Dolores Cannon, before she passed away, I had watched one of her conferences, and she said that the ETs are all here to watch this happen, and that this is a big galactical event that only happens once in a lifetime, and that they've come from galaxies far, far away, and they're not allowed to interfere, but they're all here like it's going to be a big show, and they're all here to watch. So I imagine why people are seeing these pictures of these ETs and the ships and that. It's because they're hanging out waiting for it to happen, which is another sign, I would say, another sign that something big is going to go down.
Well, that's to me. I think that's like almost one of the big signs that we're gonna see what they said that where it's gonna be how you say that a war in heaven.
A war in heaven,
That
yes.
yeah. I think right now there actually is a world war. The main thing we gotta wait for is when Michelangelo throws down the dragon. Because in Revelation it states that Michelangelo is the one that's gonna be fighting with the adversary right now. That's what's happening right now. And when we see the adversary come down, it's because Michelangelo defeated him. And this is when the adversary comes down and starts reigning over the earth. Remember, they're gonna give him time. He's got to have what is it like 6 months or somewhere around there for him to run his little course, and then he's gonna be bound again for 1,000 years.
Hmm.
So that's yeah, I believe right now we're on a I'm not gonna try to feel mong or put push fear porn, but I really feel that we're on a pretty much on a short leash already.
Yeah, I agree. I
I
agree.
feel like we're like almost I say sometime next year, or if not even if, I'm not gonna say it's the beginning of next year, but sometime next year. Like
I
someone because
agree.
I got somebody who told me we're almost like on a 6 month, almost like 6 months. If you count 6 months right now, that's exactly what Gilbert Sarr always tries to tell everybody during Passover.
Hmm. Well, and we still have some things that are going to happen,
Well,
according to the Bible. There's supposed to be war and, a lot of things that
it,
are told in the Bible that are happening.
and let me explain to you a little something about Revelations. Revelations is written out of content. It's not written in order. The reason why is because if we were gonna wait for read Revelations, still 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 should have happened before Revelations chapter 12, the red dragon and the woman and the red dragon. We saw the woman and the red dragon, which was Revelations chapter 12. So that happened
Yeah.
before. So, in my opinion, the Revelations is what we considered written out of context. They mixed it up because it'll be so easy. If I were to pick up the Bible and I was the adversary, I could just look it up. Oh, I got to do this and that, and that's it. I'm done. I just got to wait for this and that. No, they wrote it differently and mixed it up so he could be mixed up himself. He thinks that's gonna happen the way it is, but it's not. So other things happen differently.
Well, and
That's my
also I think
opinion.
you think that it possibly is mixed up too, so that people cannot figure out the day or the time, because they
Yeah,
say only the Lord knows the day or the time, and everybody wants to figure it out through the Bible. I agree.
yeah.
I think the Bible has I love the Bible, don't get me wrong, but I do think that it has been manipulated. I mean, I think a lot of things have been manipulated, and I think it has to do with a form of mind control.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you. And I think that's the reason why they did what they did. Like, okay, in my opinion, if we're gonna talk about that, I think they rewritten Revelations. Which one was that one? Uh, Revelations. Not Revelation. Romans. Romans. I think it's 53. or 54 or something about or you have to submit to your governor. I think they wrote that one in there for because they knew something like this was gonna happen. So the only way for you got to realize if they have a pastor, a pope, a preach come in telling everybody they have to submit to the governments. What do you think all these so-called cheapo are gonna do? They're gonna go straight to
Well,
the slaughter.
you know that every single church in the United States has been mapped out by Homeland Security.
Oh yeah.
When I interviewed Al Cuppet, the retired Joint Chief of Staff, he had told us about that they have came to every church and they know where every entrance and every exit is. And he also said that when they decide to take over, which he's talking about, I think he said the UN soldiers, nobody's going to get out of that church. Now, a lot of people don't want to believe this, but a lot of the pastors, which I've ran into people just randomly and basically told them what was going to go down, and they said, "Oh, bad baby, will you tell my pastor?" I laugh. I go, "Well, if you want me to talk to him, that's fine, I will. But I'm telling you, he already knows." And this guy comes back to me and he says, "I told my pastor everything you told me. And you know what? He already knew. And you know what? He just came back from a FEMA training course." And I told him, I said, yes, because when they kick those doors in the church and tell everybody get out there in the truck or on the bus or whatever, they're going to use the scripture, obey authority, and they're going to also use the pastors. They have been trained to keep the congregation under control, the exact same program they did when they rounded everybody up and put them in the concentration camps in World War II. And what they're planning on doing is the same scenario, because the people that are in the church are going to run to the pastor and say, "Oh my God, these soldiers with machine guns and our children, what do we do?" And they're going to tell them, "Obey authority, and no one will get hurt. Just get on the truck. You don't want to get shot. Blah 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 blah," which is the dumbest thing to do. I mean, if someone's telling you to get on a truck with a machine gun, you may as well shoot me now, because I'm not going to watch you separate my family and torture us or do whatever you got planned. You know what I'm saying? And the thing is, how many people are going to be out with the guns? And not as many people that are in that church. I mean, what did they do when they tried to take that plane down? They said, "Oh, there's 4 of these guys and 20 of us. Let's jump on them." So, that's one of the reasons why they don't want people to wake up. But yeah, that's one of the scriptures they're going to stand on. And I think that was put in there for this whole scenario. What are your thoughts on that?
Uh, where do you want me to begin?
That
Where
was
would
a
you like to?
mouthful, wasn't it?
Yeah, like where would you want me to begin? Like I just think what you just said, I have to agree with you. It's like I can't say anything more that's gonna disagree with you. I agree with everything you said.
The thing is, I'm sorry, but you won't find me sitting in a church. I'm sorry. I don't feel I have to go to a church to talk to my Heavenly Father. I just won't. And, knowing what's going to go down, I'm not going to be a sitting duck. I don't want to watch the chaos. And I'm not going to go with anybody. You're going to have to take me out right where I sit, because I'm not going willingly.
That's what I said. I said, you know what? You could go ahead and do everything. My parents said they weren't gonna. That they were just they come over here and tell them that they need to go in the how you say go to the church.
Re-education camps.
Yeah, re-education camps. You know what they are already. Um, they said they were gonna go. I'm like, why? They said, well, because they said they have food and everything for us. We're not gonna have nothing. I go, that's the whole purpose of why we have to get your house in order right now. That's
Yeah.
why he tells us to stock. That's why he tells
And
us to stock
that's
up for a
exactly
year.
what Al Cuppet said. Al Cuppet said that people are going to go willingly, because they're going to tell them, "Well, you need to come here because you'll be able to take a shower and get a hot meal and have a bed to sleep in. And he goes, and once they get there, the first thing they're going to do is separate everybody. You're not going to be able to talk to your husband. Your children are going to be taken to a different area. And, basically they're going to decide whether you live or die. And he says, and this is why all the guillotines were brought over here, that you're going to be put in a line, and you're going to line up to go into a room to be beheaded. And right before you're beheaded, they're going to tell you, take the chip and accept Satan, or that's it. You know, to me, it sounds like a long, drawn out ordeal of terror and torture. And if you're going to behead me, you may as well just shoot me, right?
That's what I said. You know what? That's what I said. But I did tell my family that I am gonna be, going to do like I said, have my bug out bag and everything ready. But if it came to the point where they're gonna come at us like they say they're gonna do and want to do that, I'm gonna go out like a warrior. I'm
That's
gonna have
it.
to. I'm gonna have to stand my ground. And if I go out, I go out. I'm not gonna
Did
let
you ever
anybody
see
try
the
to.
movie Red Dawn with
Yes, I have.
Patrick Swayze? Okay,
Yeah, I
well,
feel like that's
what
what's
did
gonna
they do
happen
when
like that.
they break into the movie, the drive-in theater? They're throwing the guns to the guys who've been prisoners, and they say they're going to kill you anyways. You may as well go out fighting.
Yep, that's exactly what's gonna happen. I feel that they probably might end up having these prisoners give them guns and everything. You never know. It could probably be where I'm going by what the Hoppy is saying and what they go by. They said there's going to be what we consider a civil war going on, and it's going to be man against man and all that. So I'm waiting to see that. What if that really happens? Then these elite already have all this planned out.
Well, I think that they're
They're going to give it
trying
like
to
you
get
said.
the Civil War going right now by paying all these protesters and people to try to bring down the government. And, you know, they're out there. Well, I've seen a lot of those on Facebook where these people that are protesting about uh, the Supreme Court Judge Kavanaugh, they're saying they're not angry, but I couldn't tell you how many people's heads they're splitting open. There was a guy on my friend list on Facebook where he took a picture of the top of his head. He ran a restaurant down in Florida, and he was talking to one of his employees who was a supporter of protesting. And he said, these people are violent. And she was getting really upset, saying, no, we aren't. We're not violent. And he says, oh, yeah, you are. I'm not saying you personally, but the group is violent. And she hit him on top of the head with a coffee cup and split his head open. Wait a minute. She just said she wasn't violent, but she split this man's head open. What's
Uh,
her definition of violence?
I guess being hostile, you get a gun, you're like trying to go to somebody, stabbing, shooting. I guess that's violence to her. I guess hitting people is not violent.
Well, he took a picture of the top of his head and put it up on Facebook. He was at the OR. He had to get 18 stitches in the top of his head.
Are you how many stitches?
18?
That's a lot just for him getting hit.
Yeah, she split his head open pretty bad.
Oh,
You know,
wow,
and
poor
and
guy.
and I saw a few other ones where they're yanking people out of their cars and they're beating these people up. They're splitting people's heads open. If you can't call that violence, I don't know what. I just I feel sorry for the victims. People just you can't even drive down the street if you got a red hat on supporting Trump or you got a sticker on your car. They're chasing people down and dragging them. They're beating on their cars and dragging them out of their cars and beating them up. And not just beating them up, they're splitting people's heads open.
Yeah, that's exactly what's happening right now everywhere in this world. If you see it, you got the ones that happened during the time. Like I said, during the time when Trump was have the rally, when they had the Black Lives Matters, and then you had these. I believe all like okay, since we're on the subject, I like all these so-called shootings that we had in Florida, Arizona. I believe those were all what we considered orchestrated. Number one, I believe the reason why they were orchestrated, those is for the Second Amendment to take away our guns.
Exactly. They're trying to cause chaos because
Exactly.
they're going to bring they think that people are going to go, "Oh, we're going to bring in order out of chaos." And all they're trying to do, they're not bringing order out of chaos. They're bringing disarmament out of chaos so that when they disarm you, you're a sitting duck.
That's exactly what they want you to do. Okay, if you really want to think about that, if you go back all the way to I believe it's like 18 something, they did the same thing too. They disarmed everybody, and what did they do? They took everybody and they I don't want to say this, but they perished. You take a look what happened
Yes.
over there during the Holocaust. They took away everybody's guns, and what did they do? They rushed. They forced everybody to go into these concentration camps. And what did they do to them? They perished.
Starved them,
So they
experimented
perished.
on them.
And that's exactly what's happening right now. Like they said, history repeats itself. If you want to find out what's going to happen, just go take a look at what happened like maybe about 60, 70 years ago. It's almost going to be the same thing that's happening right now.
And why do you think they're destroying history? Because they're destroying history.
Yeah,
They're burning down museums. They're burning history up. They want to destroy history so people can't catch on.
exactly. Have you noticed that they brought in that statue of Babylon, whatever it is, bulb, that devil statue over there in Arkansas?
Oh, they got one here in Detroit. They
Yeah,
and
I know.
they had up here. They took it over to the state capitol and had it sitting up on the steps of the state capitol, and then they did a big opening ceremony to it, worshiping it, and oh God, how disgusting!
What is
It's just the
that?
fact that they got these statues and that they're putting them up
Yeah.
on our capitals and our, I mean, they're linking it with the government is what they're doing
Well,
because
it's what they say. This is the new norm now because they need to bring him in. They got to worship him because that's the time when he comes, when their so-called God comes back. That he wants to see. He wants to see everybody the way he wants to see. Have you noticed that they have kids by that thing? When I seen
yes,
the kids buy that, I was like, oh no, I already know what that means.
yep,
To me, I'm talking about pizza and hot dogs, if you know what that means.
yes, exactly. Exactly, and that's why all those children disappeared, the immigrants' children's. They said, "Oh, all of a sudden, 1,400 of these children are missing, and they don't know where they are." How do you lose 1,400 children? I'll tell you how you lose them. You take them and sell them off. That's what they did.
Exactly.
Them children went
Exactly.
across an auction block, and they were sold to some sicko for whatever purpose they had in mind for them.
I just feel so bad. I know that back in the day they did that. The Queen in them, they did that,
Well,
and it's so sad.
I, you know,
I
pray for those children because they're the ones that are going through the hell. And the thing is, and that was another thing, I had people get on me when I was doing shows with Kevin and Annette exposing what's happening to the children. Oh, and this is too horrible to talk about. And I'm thinking, well, how horrible do you think it is for the children to go through it? And they're allowed to get away with it because nobody will talk about it or try to stick up for the children.
Yeah, no one's gonna stick up for it. Not like that. They do it like that. No, ain't nobody gonna want to. They won't be able to. I don't know if that makes sense.
Well, I know a lot of people don't realize it, but Halloween is one of their big, big worship holidays. And when I started finding out what was happening to the children, I had no idea that the pumpkin with a candle lit in it it's part of their ceremony. It represents a child that's been sacrificed. Look it up. A lot of people look at me and they'll go, "Oh, that's a bunch of bunk, blah blah blah." No, that's what it's supposed to mean. It's supposed to mean a soul that was sacrificed. And I'll tell you another thing that I found out. And if you do let your children go out trick or treating, this is a prime time when a lot of children disappear, is during the Halloween time. A lot of children
Yeah.
end up missing around that time.
Yes, you're right. They do, and they always have some type of excuse. Oh, they ran away. Or you're treating them bad at home. So there's always something like that. They always try to get you with. Well, let me show you this one.
Well,
I was been trying. I wanted to show you this one too. Where's it at? Here it is. This is the actual object that I caught black and what I was messing around with my phone, going black and white. You see that?
hmm
Okay, well that's an actual object. It's an actual object. I did a little bit of what we consider work on it, where you not cut it, but what I did was did what I consider black and white. Where not black and white. I did brightness and contrast on one of them and inverted the other one to actually see if that was the actual true object, to make sure it wasn't a lens flare. And sure enough, it came back to be that it was an actual true object. The heck is this? And sure enough, I was some of these stuff that I see in the sky, I'm kind of like, I get kind of scared. And I'll be honest, I do, because it's like we never, me and you and everyone, we never seen anything like this when we were growing up. We didn't see the
no,
sky getting so cammed. We didn't see no so-called sun dogs or halos before when we were growing up. I never seen that before. And these so-called sun dogs and halos weren't, to me, I think weren't they were how would you say, made up, designed just for them to tell us about what they knew what was going to happen with this Planet X system. They knew what was going to happen, so that's the reason why they did that. They came out with the so-called sun dogs, halos. Haven't you ever? I never heard no sun dog before. Even a moon has a sun dog. I never knew a moon could have a sun dog. See, that's the object, so you can see it's a true object. It's a
wow.
UFOs. I see these a lot. I mean, every day, practically every day, I could go outside and point it out and tell my brother, "Look it." He's like, "Oh yeah." Huh? He goes, "Dang," he goes, "You're so lucky to see them." And I was like, "Oh, I don't know why. I don't know why I get to see them, but I get to see them."
Because you're looking. And I think that's another reason why we got all this rioting and fighting and chaos and all this stuff going on. It's a distraction. I think it's a distraction from everybody to pay attention. I think they designed the iPhone and texting to keep everybody looking down at their phones instead of up.
Haven't you noticed that's what you see, everybody, every single buddy, when they tell somebody, "Oh yeah, look at the sky," and they look up, "Oh yeah, I seen that like seen that like last year," like it's nothing new to them, or like it doesn't
I
bother them.
remember a few years back they were talking about, oh, there's going to be a zombie apocalypse. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. It's happening. It's already happened. It's the iPhone, people. Can't you see people walking around like zombies, looking at their phone all the time? I see
Yep,
people go out to dinner together and they don't even talk to each other because they're busy looking at their phone or texting. To me,
yep.
that is so rude.
That's the new normal already. That's how they want everybody. They want everybody, like you said, distracted. They don't want me and you to be where we're going to be communicating about life, or like, oh, what's happening out there in the world? Oh, did you see a UFO, or did you see a planet? They don't want us to be doing that. They want us to be straight looking down at the ground. Okay, you know the reason why. You know the main reason why. What does it state in scripture? It says to pay attention to the heavens, to the sky, to the stars, the moon, and the sun. What do you think they're doing? They're keeping everyone distracted from keeping their eyes from the heavens.
Hey,
That's
I
exactly what they're
saw
doing.
a shower curtain that was designed, it was clear and it has pockets in it to put your iPad or your iPhone in it so that you can look at your iPad or your iPhone while you're taking a shower.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, they have that. They even have one too where you could actually hook up. I think it's like wireless Bluetooth, and you could put that on your head while you're showering.
Oh, give me a break.
No, I'm not playing.
If you can't give up your device for 20 minutes or a half an hour or however long you're in the shower, you got a problem. Now that is crazy. Get in line with the poop throwing people. You need psychotherapy.
Exactly. That's exactly what I say. A lot of these people do. They do need some serious, serious, serious help. When you take a look at them, you're like, oh God, like, you're like, help them out, and you try to talk to them. Hey, what are you doing? Don't leave me alone. Leave me alone. Like, what do you mean? Oh, just leave me alone. I'm like, all right. And then sometimes when you try to help them out, they snap at you for no reason.
Yeah.
I don't know what. I think it has to do with a lot with the chemtrailing. I think that's what's blocking everyone's what we consider even the water, the fluoride water. I think that's really blocking everyone's so-called what they say that pineal gland,
Pineal
so to
gland.
make it
Yeah.
easy. That's pineal gland. I
Yeah.
think
And
that's what the
And
chemtrailing is
when your
exactly there
pineal
for.
gland gets calcified, you lose your spiritual connection. So, I mean, when you lose your spiritual connection, there goes your kindness.
Yep, and there it goes, and that's exactly how they want us. Like the way you said it, they want everybody to be what we consider how do you say that? Uh,
Zombies?
mean. No, mean, hating each other, being
Yeah,
violent.
yeah. They want to create chaos. They want to create
This is
chaos. It seems like, and I've really, really learned not to get in arguments or fight with people anymore. I used to be very, like if somebody didn't agree with me, I would have to prove my point. I'd stand there and argue with you. I'd say, you don't know what you're talking about, blah, blah, blah. I don't even waste my oxygen anymore. It's like, hey, whatever. I know, you want to be asleep, be asleep. You know, there's, I've come to the point where you can't fix stupid.
there ain't no cure for that. There ain't no
And
cure.
there's
I don't
not
care.
enough
I don't care.
oxygen on the planet to waste it.
Yeah, I don't even care what anybody tells me. Oh yeah, there's a cure for that. Oh no, there's not. If there was, then you know what? Everyone right now will be cured.
And you know what? They
Everyone will be
have
cured.
a reason for everything that they're doing. Did you know, Alex, that they're starting to send permission slips home in Florida to vaccinate all the children at the school?
I know they're doing that right here in California.
Yep, yep. And
They're doing it.
parents that have no idea of what vaccinations do to their kids, and they'll think, oh, good idea. Then I don't have to pay for a doctor's appointment. It's free, but I'll sign that. And those children are going to suffer the consequences.
You ever heard of the?
Unfortunately,
You ever heard of the cube?
yep, yep.
Well,
We've talked about the cube.
supposedly they said that's the cube right there in the
It sure
sky.
does look like a cube to me.
That was
I
taken in
have not
Texas,
seen
and
it in
Texas.
my sky. I have not seen it in my sky, but I've had quite a few emails about the cube.
Yeah. This was taken in Texas. Texas has been seeing it, I think, since like 2016. That was the thing. That was the very first time they actually took a photograph of it. And like I said, I've been getting a lot of this UFO photograph stuff. Like I'm into the UFO stuff. Uh, I believe in that, but I'm not like what you consider one of them that are going to be worshiping them. Oh, I love them. I can't wait till I see one. I find one. No, that's not me. I just get the photographs, present them, and that'll be it. The reason why I don't believe in them like the way everybody thinks I should is because I feel that they are actually the ones that are the fallen angels. I do
Yeah,
believe. Don't
I,
get me wrong. I do
mhm.
believe in them, but I do feel that they are the fallen angels.
I think that some of them are. I think that some of them aren't. I think there are two different groups, but I do think that some of them are the fallen angels. Just like there's good and bad in the human race. I think in the alien world, the good and bad exists also.
I mean, I really don't think that there is any good, because I'll be honest. I'll be honest with you. They came
Well,
down here
I've
to
interviewed
manipulate.
some people that have had alien encounters and have been warned. I mean, that one, there's a YouTube video, I'll send it to you. I can't remember the guy's name. Jose Rodriguez, I think was his name. And he was driving home from doing a photo shoot at a bar where his brother was, or somebody, his friend was in a band, and they wanted him to take pictures of the band so they could advertise that they were going to be playing at this bar. So on his way home, he had borrowed this high powered camera from a friend to take pictures. It was laying on the front seat of his car. He came across three little gray guys standing on the side of the road. So he took pictures of them. And then he kind of lost some time, and he was on a spaceship, and there were several other human beings on this spaceship, and they were all standing around like, what are we doing here? And he said a man came out. He was dressed in all leather with long hair, and he said that they were brought there to be shown what was going to happen to our planet. And then a screen lit up, and it showed them like a huge rock hits the ocean, and it causes tsunamis and earthquakes, and and so he was shown all this. All these people were shown all this, and it really freaked him out. Then the next thing he knew, he was back on behind the wheel of his car, and he came to, and it was like his car was dropped out of the sky. He said he felt the car go boom, boom, boom and hit the ground. And after he started getting control of his car, he looked up in the sky and he saw UFOs that were being chased by F-15s, fighter jets. So he picked the camera up and took a bunch of pictures of it. And I can't remember who he went to with the story at first, but he was really skeptical about telling anybody about the story. And he hid these photos at home somewheres really well. Well, one day, guess who shows up at his door? I think he said it was CIA or FBI, I can't remember, but they had heard he had these photos and they wanted them. And he said, I don't have any photos. And they said, well, we want to search your house. And he said they came in and searched, but they didn't find them. And those photos are on the video that he tells his story. And when you look at his face when he's telling what happened to him, this guy, you can tell he's scared and he's freaked out about what happened. Now, that's what I'm talking about, the good aliens. They pretty much wanted to warn us through taking these people up. And isn't it interesting that the F-15s were chasing them? Like, get out of here. We don't want you here. Why didn't they want them here? Because maybe they didn't want them to warn people of what's about to happen to our planet. So that's why, between that and a few people that I've interviewed that have had some abductions and that were told pretty much about the pole shift or an event, they called it a great event. That's why I think there are some good out there. I think there are bad. Don't get me wrong. I think there are bad, but I do think that there are good out there that are trying to help us or warn us about what's about to happen. I'll find that video and I'll send it to you. You'll find it very interesting.
Oh yeah, because I've been, like I said, when I was growing up, they said, don't believe anything. The alien, how you call it, us being invaded is gonna be the big deception. Don't fall for any of this stuff. So
Right.
I'm like,
Oh, I agree that there
okay,
is going to be a great deception, that there is going to be a great alien deception. But I mean, that doesn't streamline it as absolutely all of them are bad, especially when you hear or about stories like this man.
I gotta hear that song, 'cause there's times that people try to get me to get into it. I sit in there with them listening to it, and I'm like, oh, I go, did he see this or is this his interpretation? Yeah, sometimes when you hear the people, oh, that's his interpretation, I go, oh, so it's not really real then. And they're like, oh no, then that's what gets kind of throws me off. That's what gets me kind of like, okay, it's his interpretation. It's not really, it didn't really happen. That's one reason why what gets me into not really wanting to believe in the aliens and them being good, because you have a lot of people with their own interpretations. If, like you said, if it happened to the guy, and he felt it firsthand or he saw it firsthand, then that's where I'll
Yeah.
sit there and believe that guy,
There's a
because
lady
he
too
saw
that
it.
I interviewed. Her name is Ann Eller. You can look her up. Um, I don't know how I found her. I don't know whether it was fate or what. But when I found her and I called her up and we talked on the phone all day before I interviewed her, she said, God, I feel like I've known you for a lifetime. And she too had alien encounter, which her story's kind of cute because the aliens that came in contact with her were like angelic women, she said. She said, picture like a bunch of nuns and there was a head nun and the rest of them were like all under her and scurried around her. And she said she remembered there was one that was kind of shy and it would like peek around the door, like wanted to see that they were in the room with her, but was afraid to come in, was a little curious and intimidated by being in her presence. Uh, God, it's been a long time since I did that interview. But again, they told her about the pole shift. They told her what was going to happen. She talks about the pole shift and she's like, I think she was 67 or 68 years old. And she said, I didn't expect to come out here and talk about this, but they asked me to warn people and advise people. And the interesting part of her interview was uh, she said, they told her that people are going to survive. People are going to survive.
Yes, they
I
are.
think people are going to
People are.
survive.
Well, it does state right there in scripture that people are going to survive. So I really do believe a lot of people will survive this. That's the reason why he tells us to run to the hills, tells us to be ready for us to stock up on food, because he knows that we're going to be able to survive. Whoever survives are
Hmm.
going to be the ones that are going to be left over to rebuild.
Yep. That movie gives me the creeps.
Which one? Oh, They Live. Yeah, I know. I
Yeah.
saw this one. I saw this one. I had to take it. I told the guy, "Do you mind?" He goes, "I don't care. Go for it." So all right, I had to take that one. I love that movie. Yeah, that's when I first saw that movie. When I first saw that movie when I was a kid, I was saying there has to be some truth to this. It has to, because I didn't believe in the government when I was a kid. I'm being honest. My parents, everyone will tell you, I never believed in the government. I never trusted them. Never in my life. I always thought the government was corrupted and all. And sure enough, when I started growing up, so I realized, oh yes, what I've been saying is true. I'm like, oh, and I saw this movie. I kept saying, that movie rings a bell. And then sure enough, everybody's saying, have you seen that movie, They Live? I was like, I have to see that movie again. And when you actually see that movie, that's exactly what's happening right now, the way they're telling us.
Yes,
And you can realize
exactly.
the only thing is that we don't have to put the glasses on. We can see it we see it with our own eyes.
Right. They actually have uh, bulletin boards in New York City that subliminally talk to people with voice to skull technology, telling them to buy this car. I'm pretty sure it was to buy a car. And when you're standing on the corner, they do voice to skull to these people, and people are looking around like, who is that talking to me? And they're telling them subliminally. The bulletin board is telling them, hey, you get over there and buy this car. Obey.
That's exactly what they say. They say obey. obey. If you don't obey, this will happen to you. I'm like, okay. And they tell you right there to obey, and it says that consume. I'm like, consume what? Oh yeah, consume all those good beverages that they tell you that have was it aspartame and saccharin and all that stuff
Aspartame.
in it. Aspartame,
Yes.
there you go. Consume that, consume it all, and have fun. I think really
Well,
what that really meant to say was for us
there
to
was a
consume the
guy that
attention.
put a video up on Facebook, and he goes, I just want all the parents out there to know just exactly what I discovered today. And I thought, oh, this looks like it's going to be interesting. And he goes, sodium phosphate. He goes, do you know what that is? He goes, I use this when I clean my tools, or I use this. It's a heavy duty, toxic, poisonous chemical. And he goes, I'm sitting here this morning. My kids are eating Lucky Charms, and look right here. And he shows on, on the side of the box, it has this chemical in it. He goes, why are they feeding our children cereal that has a toxic chemical in it? So he went to the cupboard and he pulled out a couple more boxes. A couple of the Kellogg boxes didn't have it, but I think he said, God, I can't remember. He named a couple other cereals, and they all had it in there. So if you're feeding your kids cereals, you better look at the label, because he showed the box of this chemical that he uses that's poisonous, highly poisonous, is in several of the cereal boxes he had on his shelf.
He didn't tell you, is Kellogg's? That's what he said? Some of Kellogg's?
Well, no, a couple of the Kellogg's, like Corn Flakes, and I can't remember the two that he pointed out that didn't have it, but he pulled 4 boxes of cereal out that did have it. I think I still got his video in one of my messages. Somebody sent it to me and said, "Hey, Bad Baby, look at this." And I thought, it doesn't surprise me, because they're, like Dr. Betty Martini was saying, they're putting aspartame in a lot of the products and not labeling it. And when people started getting the word out about aspartame, they changed the name to amino sweet. So, but yeah, it's just part of the depopulation program to slowly poison everybody. And they're really, if you got children, you really got to pay attention, because they're really going after the children right now with the vaccinations and what we're feeding them. It's just horrible. you know really
Yeah.
have to be on guard.
Yes, you have to
I think
nowadays. Whatever they
I
nowadays,
think
like how all
that's
the
why
stuff
a
in the
lot of the
water.
children, I have never seen so many children get cancer. I never heard a lot of children having cancer when I was a kid. And you look now and the kids got cancer left and right.
It's because of all the stuff that they're eating, they're consuming. Do you know that chocolate's the number one a high call cause like of addiction of sweets? If you eat a lot of chocolate, you're addicted to sweets.
I
They're
know
supposed to
some people.
ban. Yeah, they're supposed to ban it in what year was it? I think in 19 I think 30 something. They're supposed to ban it from coming all the way over because it came from Amazon. If you didn't know that chocolate was actually discovered in the Amazon. So uh, they uh, they weren't supposed to bring it over here, but chocolate has some type of chemical or some type of what I can say agent where it
It
automatically
affects your
can
serotonin.
yeah,
That's why women
yeah, and
that
not
are
only
crabby have to have chocolate when they're menstruating. They crave chocolate because it gives you a pleasant high, a pleasant feeling. It's like, chocolate. Gotta have my chocolate.
not me, not me. I'm already I don't I already let go of chocolate a long time ago. Once I started finding out about my sickness and they started telling me I needed to let go of this and that, I'm like, okay, here we go. I taste chocolate, like I said, but I never ate it like constantly, 24/7. Like I seen my brothers and sisters now. Those guys, uh, they know how to eat chocolate.
Thank you, Rob. Very nice compliment. Before we, get it, we've only got like about 15 minutes left here. And just before we get out of here, I want you guys' opinion. Uh, how do you feel if I leave Talk Shoe? If you don't write it in the chat tonight and I don't see it, maybe put a message up. It's a hard decision for me to make. I'm thinking about it. I'm on the fence over it, and I just want to know how y'all feel out there about it. I won't make the decision
Yeah,
right away. I'm going to mull it over if I even got that much time.
like I said, I really don't know, but with all these earthquakes and volcanic eruptions, yeah, I agree. We probably don't even have that much time. There's too much going on already just to be saying that, oh no, nothing's happening, or nothing's gonna go on, because like you said too, mainstream media is already talking about post shift. And why
Yeah.
would they talk about post shift unless they know it's really gonna happen?
Next week's guest is going to be Robert Evans, and he's
Yes,
going to
Robert
bring
Evans, I love him.
all his photos, and we're going to go over that, go over what's been happening to him lately.
It's a great man. I love that. I love that man. He's a great man. Mr. Evans,
Well,
yeah, he's a great guy.
Robert has always been close to me. Uh, I was really sick about a year ago. I actually thought I was going to die, and I was ready for it. I couldn't breathe. I had I do believe I had lung cancer. I'm not sure because I don't go to a doctor, but I'll tell you what, I was real close to death, and I had, I think, 11 of 12 symptoms for lung cancer. I couldn't breathe, and Robert, such a sweetheart, he would call me every day just to see how I was doing. He said he was praying for me. He was very, very worried. He kept telling me, I'm so worried about you. And, thank God Robert Pepino stepped in and helped me out a little bit doing some of my shows. But people didn't realize how sick I was, but thought I had one foot in the grave there, you guys. But I guess God pulled me back out and said, not yet.
He goes, nope, not yet. I still need you here. You have not finished completed your mission yet.
That's
That's
it.
why I tell
I'm
you,
on a mission from
that's how
God.
that's all we all are. We're all on a mission. Me and you and whoever else is speaking, whoever else for me, if whoever is speaking the truth, we're all in here for a mission.
That's right. That's right. And I was getting a
So
little weary when Robert left, and didn't think I could go on without having a co-host. And so, what does God do? He flings you into my life.
yes, he does. And it's so weird that I got put in here because I followed uh Becky Lewis, because she made a video saying that you're gonna interview her, and I already know who you were. Like I said, I was following you were doing interviews with WSO, Planet X News. And yeah, I heard a couple of them with Samuel Hoffman. So yeah, I know who you were and everything, but it's weird that just did happen the way it did. We got to thank the creator because he's the one that did it.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, I've been around the block with the Planet X community, that's for sure. I've gotten every kind of take there was from the sun and back. And I never
That's what
expected
I
to be
know.
out here talking about it, really.
I know how to talk about a planet that everyone doesn't want to believe in. Like I said, me and you are right. The only reason why they don't want to believe in this planet and is because you got such, like I said, so much Planet X researchers out there uh, posting up all kinds of crazy stuff, and no one wants to believe in it because they tell you, oh, this is a planet They tell you straight out it's a fact, or they tell you, oh, it's my way or the highway. And of course, if you want to sit there and view their content, you have to agree with them. You have to, believe them. And then when you have someone else as it comes down the line that's showing, oh, this is this and that, everybody gets confused, and they're like, well, I don't know what to believe anymore, if it's real or not. So it's you got to realize you got to blame some of the Planet X researchers out there that started all this stuff, and I believe some of them were put in here just to confuse us.
Yes. Yep.
I'm not. I don't know which ones are they are, but there's a lot of them out there that are calling all kinds of things. That's the like I said, lens arrays, lenses, lens flares, all that as planets. So I just stay away from the ones that call that, because I want to see actual objects that has solid mass, something that has what we consider everyone's talking about, a gas cloud with the debris tail and all its moons around it. That's what I'm waiting for. I'm not waiting for no glass or no refraction of an object. We're all waiting for this. We're all waiting for an actual object that we're all going to be able to see. And when he says we're going to see it, it's going to be every nation, not just one.
Yep. Absolutely. Well, like Ed Dame says, when they're fighting in the war, they look up and they see it, and they all lay their guns down and go home. And
I
I remember George Norrie said, "Why would they lay their guns down when they're in the middle of fighting?" And he said, "Because they knew that there was no point anymore."
I think Skitchens was because right now they got somebody right now said to tell me about Inky and Skitchens' work is a false rabbit hole. I had to tell you that Skitchens got talked to before he was able to release his work. He got talked to by the government. They told him what he could say, what he can't say.
Oh, I
I
believe
had
that.
some no, I have somebody who interviewed him, and and I seen they interviewed him myself, and I wish I could share the interview, but I can't. And I seen the interview, and this guy actually he knows what date and time it's coming back. He couldn't give it out, but he said that it's going to be somewhere. The way he said it, it's going to be in the 20th century in the millennium. So if you think about it, we're almost in the 20th. We're already in the 20th century, but if it's going to be in the millennium, whatever, to me it'll be like 2020.
Well, my take on it is I believe what Al Bielek says. I don't know if you know who Al Bielek is, but he
Yes,
was
I
on
do.
the Philadelphia experiment.
Yeah.
Do you know who he is?
Yes, I do.
Okay, well, if you watch his video, when he tells his story about being in the future, and he said television didn't look like it did back then, and the programs were different. It wasn't like you watched a show, was more like educational. And then when he saw the news or whatever, and they showed the maps, all the content was different. The United States was split in two. California was missing. Most of the west or the east coast was gone. 90% of Florida was missing. It was just a little piece sticking out. And he asked the nurse, "What am I looking at?" And she said, "This is the way the planet ended up after," and she called it the big event. And he said, "What big event?" And she told him that there was a shift. I'm sorry, I got a cough, you guys. Hold on. Okay. So, anyways, according to him, he asked her when this happened. She said in 2025. And I believe him. I believe it possibly will happen in 2025, which gives us what, about 7 years?
Yeah. And that gives us right there about the same time as us being in the 7 year tribulation.
Exactly. So, and that's exactly what I was thinking. I was thinking, well, then we must be in tribulation right now, and that's why all the flooding and the fighting and the chaos, the volcanoes, the storms, the hell on earth is going on because we're in the 7 years of tribulation. And then the shift happens in 2025. But the best part about that story, I would love to interview him. I don't even know if he's still alive or if he'd do an interview, but I would love to interview him. The best part about his story was he asked where the military was, and she said there's no more military. And he asked where um, um, the New World Order went, and she said, well, after the big event, there wasn't much of them left. They kind of fell apart, which tells you when they go into their underground bunkers, they
They're gonna
are
kill
not
each
going to
other.
survive. They're not going to survive.
No, I think
They're
some of
not
them are
going to
gonna kill.
survive.
Yeah, I think some of them are end up killing each other to themselves. Anyways, they're not gonna be able to stand each other down there.
Yep,
You know,
I
we got
agree.
too much big of a egos down there. Too much pride. I mean, think about it. They have too much pride in egos right now. So I don't think that's the reason why it says that they're going to be begging for the rocks to kill them. Some of them might end up saying, you know what, you stop begging, I'm end up doing it. So they end up doing it anyways.
Well, you
That's my
know,
opinion.
I just, when I saw his video and she said that's what happened to the planet when the big event happened, I knew she was talking about the pole shift and the fact that, uh, you know, I think what ends up happening where he was at was in what the Bible calls the new earth.
Pretty much, I think, I do agree. I do believe that the Lord is gonna, they're gonna bring us a new earth. That's what it states. It's gonna be a new earth, a new Jerusalem. So, in my opinion, yeah, that's why we're having this so-called other water planet come traveling with this other TRAPPIST system. That's what I like to call it, because that's going to be our new. If you look at the book of Enoch, he talks about portals opening up in the sky, and he said that people are getting caught up in the clouds in there. So my opinion is, I think you are right about these ETs being good. They're going to be the ones that are going to lift us up in there. Like they said, people get caught up in the clouds. That's how we're going to get caught up. The portals opened up, they suck us up, and they take us to the new earth. That's how we end up getting what we consider transported that way.
It's a good possibility, good theory.
Well,
Well, we're
well,
coming up on the end of the show, Alex.
okay,
2 hours
okay,
fly by
Wallace.
fast, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. I just want to thank everybody here who's been here. God bless you guys. And I'll pray for every one of you guys, and thank you for being here and for supporting Bad Baby.
Yes. And like I said, uh, leave me a review, you guys, because even if I do leave, I probably won't close the window out. Who knows? I might come back and do a show here and there. I'm still on the fence about it, but go into the reviews, leave me a review, let me know how you feel about what's going on, and we'll be back out here next week. I just I just want it to be the best that it can be for all of us. And
Yeah.
I won't be playing bumper music anymore because of the way everything's been changed around. That's why Alex and I did a test today. We were trying to figure it out, and it's just not happening. So uh, I guess I'm just going to either sing to you, good night, everybody, I love you. And
Good night,
remember,
everybody.
Bad Baby loves you. See you next week. Good night.
Okay, good night, everybody. Okay, do we hang up or do we leave?
Yep, you can hang up.